Absolutely, David, as we were talking about earlier, it does create further moral hazard in the markets. I just want to reference some comments from the HSBC CEO. No nasty surprises in Silicon Valley Bank. UK loan book since acquisition. Also, we do not see a negative impact on our business as a consequence of the First Republic rescue. So that gives us a sense of how another big bank CEO is thinking about these arrangements. David, I want to just take you in a slightly different direction, because I think the RBA has set the cat among the pigeons a little, because there was a whole community of central banks that appeared to have moved to a pause in the interest rate hiking cycle. And now the RBA has pushed the button again. And I think it's raised concerns more broadly about ultimately where are we going to top out on interest rates. So as you look around the major banks and those banks that will be meeting this week, what do you think investors should be considering as they try and assess now where new terminal rates are likely to end?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question, and I think it was a surprise to everybody that the RBA raised the rates a quarter of a point. And I was talking to some people in our Sydney office a little while ago, and that was something that was quite surprising to them. So things are, you know, we hear stories from the government on what's going on. I'll give you a little anecdote. I was in Europe until yesterday. I just came back from Europe yesterday, and I was in London. And when you're in London, there's nothing but cranes everywhere. The amount of building going on in London is crazy. And I was in Croatia, and there's cranes everywhere. The amount of building that's going on there is crazy. So you've got the UK, you've got a country in the EU. Then I was in France and I was in Spain, and there was no sign of building going on at all. So some of this is really, I think, regionalized. And if you're in the EU and you're looking at, okay, what's going to happen in rates, it's not one holistic entity. There are pockets that are doing much better than others, and that's where it becomes a quandary. Are we catering in the EU to just France and Germany, or are we looking at all of the members, and how are we treating that? So that's I think a little bit of the quandary we've got going on right now, is nobody really knows. And when we start looking at these interest rate hikes, everybody keeps talking about how the economy is going to go into a recession and how this is going to be, it's going to cause us lots of problems. But, when you look at the physical evidence, there's still lots of building and lots of growth going on. So it's kind of contradictory in its nature. But I think some of the interest rate changes that we're seeing, or we're going to see this week, it's going to impact the currencies. And as we know, when you see a big swing in the currency markets, there's a shift in capital as well. And where that shift happens and where Absolutely. It goes to, that can really impact investments everywhere.
And you will join us on that journey when we find out, David. Lovely to speak to you, as ever. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. David Pearce, Director of Strategic Initiatives, GPS Capital Markets.